Tonight on 2020. The new sex. They could be getting paid for it. They're getting it for free.
This is my husband, Richard.
She's about to meet a complete stranger in a hotel room solely to have a baby. And her husband's in on it.
I mean, people go on the internet for sex. Why can't I go on the internet for sperm?
The underground world of women desperate to conceive and strangers more than willing to help again and again.
A bit of an assumption that guys like you are, a little...
He does the handoff on his front porch.
Good luck.
And he does it up close.
Does your wife know you're doing this?
Special delivery. And college girls paying off the cost of a higher education by dating for money.
Who are these men?
Most of them have been in their 40s.
For a few decades.
Yeah.
But at the end of the date, what do their sugar daddies expect? Sugar babies. Plus, Madonna takes your questions.
What is
These
that?
are the questions
Oh,
that
God.
people wrote in.
Nothing's off limits. Her new movie, her new music, and Lady Gaga. What does Madonna think of her?
It feels reductive. Is that good? Look it up.
Here's Elizabeth Vargas.
Good evening. Women are looking for it and men are giving it away. The means with which to have a baby, that is. It's part of what we're calling the new sex, donor sexuals, volunteers willing to help a woman conceive. But are they doing it out of the goodness of their hearts or their gene pools or something else? And what about the women? What drives them to accept an exchange like you've never seen before?
My monitor, it says that I have a high day right now, so it's a good day to inseminate.
Like millions of couples, Beth and Richard are on a quest to have a baby. But unlike most, their labor of love is launching them on a cross-country odyssey. Their destination, a strange hotel room.
That's pretty much my whole gamut of fertility products. If you want a baby, it's worth it.
And an intimate encounter with a perfect stranger.
Okay, he just texted me back. Says he's on the way. Honey, can you help me with the pillows?
So why the need to get pregnant?
I've really felt the need ever since we got married almost 9 years ago.
Their saga started when they discovered Richard's vasectomy could not be reversed. They spent years taking in more than 60 foster children and ended up adopting 2 of the neediest. But at 33 years of age, Beth still yearns to give birth herself.
I sit around with my sisters and they tell me about their experiences, and I just want to know, what does it feel like, to have that baby inside of you.
After 2 years and $14,000 worth of sperm banks and artificial inseminations, Beth and Richard just couldn't afford any more. They'd nearly lost hope, and then one day Beth turned on her computer and clicked onto a brave new world.
Some people go on the internet for sex. Why can't I go on the internet for sperm?
What did you Google? Free sperm?
Free sperm.
You really can find everything on the internet.
Yes, you really can.
To Beth's surprise, it turns out there's an entire online universe devoted to free sperm donation.
So I want a donor that I can meet.
Just like in the movies.
We want to be able to, shake his hand, and you can't do that with a sperm bank, right? I also want it fresh, I don't think I want it frozen.
There are dozens of websites, like the Free Sperm Donor Registry.
Having a child is a big deal, and there's a lot of people out there say, I don't want to have a child with somebody that I haven't talked to, that I can't meet face to face.
Beth Gardner founded FreeSpermDonorRegistry.com. It offers a list of hundreds of men willing to donate free sperm to thousands of women desperate to conceive.
They have chat rooms, they have forums.
What do I click on something and a picture pops up?
Yeah, you get a picture, you can where they're born, where they went to college.
Reporter Tony Dokapil spent months investigating this new online world for a Newsweek cover story.
It's a weird blend of Facebook, Match.com, and a traditional sperm bank where you get all this medical information about this person who you might procreate with.
Tony estimates thousands of people use these sites. His research took him to some unexpected places where people donate sperm.
A fairly common location for the exchange is Starbucks.
Starbucks?
Starbucks has a lot of locations.
In the middle of Starbucks?
Yeah, this will be happening right in that one bathroom they always have to
And
occupied.
you use a cup, like any cup or a coffee cup?
I mean, they'll use a sterile cup.
Okay.
You can get them at a drugstore. Hand the cup to the recipient, who will then go into the bathroom.
And they don't even have to leave the bathroom to inseminate before the sperm cells start dying within minutes, thanks to a handy device known as an Instead cup.
It fits on the cervix. So you put the sample in the Instead cup and then insert the fixture, and then you can walk around freely while nature's taking its course.
A few months ago, Beth discovered the free sperm donor registry and a donor named Drew Sollenberger.
I listed myself on that site, and fairly quickly I started getting contacts from multiple individuals.
Drew is a brilliant 26-year-old software engineer who does work for government agencies. He's also a member of the Brotherhood who give away their sperm rather than earn thousands of dollars selling it to sperm banks.
Why not go to a sperm bank and donate there? Why do this over the internet and for free?
I prefer to know the child at all possible. As someone who loves children, I still wanted to have a child.
But do you want to get married and have your own kids?
I don't suspect that I will ever choose to get married.
Why not?
I am, by nature, a bit of an introvert.
You know that there is probably out there a bit of an assumption that guys like you are, you know, a little...
Many people do distrust sperm donors. There are some who do this for the wrong reasons, but there are many good donors.
Drew is an extreme altruist who donates thousands of dollars to charity and even donated one of his kidneys to a child. Today, Drew was traveling to a Maryland hotel room.
This is how you have a baby.
Beth and Richard have come here all the way from Wyoming to inseminate with the man they've never met before.
I'm just curious, what do you use? I mean, in the movies, you see a turkey baster.
You just use a regular syringe. Floor. Draw in the semen with the syringe. You lay down on the bed, prop your hips up. What do you say? Come on in.
Thank you.
This is my husband, Richard.
Hi, Drew. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
How are you so convinced that Drew should be your donor?
I had talked to him. He told me what he believed. He told me about the charities he gave to. I knew he wasn't there for the wrong reasons. I just knew he was a good guy, and I knew that I wanted to work with him.
Beth and Drew conduct a kind of awkward first dance.
It's good to meet you.
She needs to know he will be good and safe as a partner. At a traditional sperm bank, there's the assurance that the semen has been frozen for 6 months and thoroughly tested for diseases. That is not the case here.
Now, how do you know, because you haven't had a sperm bank screening, Drew, how do you know this is safe?
When he donated his kidney to a child, he had to be screened by the hospital for, I'm sure, every possible disease. And he's also been screened for STDs, and he's given me that paperwork.
But you're really trusting. You're out on a limb, basically trusting that he is who he says he is.
Yeah.
Armed with a good gut feeling, Beth is ready to go to the next step.
Okay, so we'll go downstairs then, and I'll have my phone on me.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Drew.
See you soon.
All right.
Drew retreats to the bathroom with a cup and his imagination. Downstairs, Beth and Richard don't have to wait long for Drew's text.
Drew says he's done. He's ready for us.
Now it's time for Beth to begin her part in the process.
It's ready for you in there.
Okay, thanks.
Is that a weird moment when Drew's handing you this?
It's a little bit different, but
You don't feel embarrassed? He doesn't feel embarrassed?
I think my husband feels more embarrassed than we do.
Is that true, Richard?
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. Pretty much say, okay, goodbye, you know, well, thank you, goodbye. I mean, how can you ever thank someone for that? You ready? Yeah. Okay.
While Beth positions the pillows to ensure maximum effect,
Get a couple pillows to put my hips up on.
final delivery of this gift is entrusted to Richard.
Flip off my shoes. So we inseminated, and I have my hips up on the pillow underneath this big old burrito here. And my knees are right here. I just keep them up as long as possible. The syringe is still in. We'll leave it in for probably about 15 minutes.
Thank you for your support with this.
I feel like it's important for him to be there. That way I can say he was there at conception. He will be the father of the baby.
And Richard is there over the next 5 days.
Anything interesting?
No.
As Beth and Drew repeat the now familiar ritual of insemination.
Says he's done.
They will know in a few anxious weeks if Beth is pregnant.
You know that there are people out there watching this right now thinking,
We're crazy.
you're
Well, we are.
naive.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and it is a leap of faith, but it's what's best for us. When you look at these babies that we've adopted and all the struggles that they've gone through, we love both of our babies so much, and we love their mothers for choosing us. That's how I feel about Drew at this time, too. He's giving me this gift that how many other people would freely give.
Okay.
When we come back, why is the government cracking down on this controversial donor? Issuing a cease manufacture order to this one-man sperm bank? Stay with us. In the underground gallery of online sperm donors, no one even comes close to Trent Arsenault.
There were around 50 different recipients and a total of over 300 actual donations.
That's right, 50 women a year, about 3 donations a week. A prolific output, he says, has resulted in 14 children over the past 5 years. A reclusive computer engineer who works out of his home for several major companies, Trent posts pictures of his offspring on his website. And he recently met one of them, a toddler named Jaden.
He's pretty good considering it says like ages 4 and up. I think the biggest misconception that people see when they hear about me as a donor is that the goal is to create hundreds or thousands of copies of myself. And no, that isn't the case. I've done community service work, I've volunteered at church, and I think this is just another way to help the community.
Can you ask him to give me a call, please?
This afternoon, 39-year-old Krista is on her way to meet Trent.
I don't think a lot of people understand this type of journey, and I never thought this was the journey that I would have to take.
Krista holds a good job in the financial industry, but something was missing. She and her partner spent nearly $10,000 on 6 cycles of unsuccessful frozen sperm inseminations.
I always ask, why am I such a failure for not being able to sustain a pregnancy or get pregnant?
So Krista started looking at alternatives. She soon became convinced that fresh rather than frozen sperm offered a better shot at her dream.
I was looking at the statistics, and I realized that my chances would be a lot better using fresh sperm. So we found Trent online.
It worked. Krista got pregnant by Trent twice, but miscarried. She trusts him, she says, because he posts his medical history and STD test results.
Trent is tested regularly, so I feel very comfortable using his sperm as much as I would working with the frozen sperm.
So now they will try again. At home, Trent does all he can to ensure the women get his best product. That means a strict physical regimen and a healthy dose of his special homemade fertility smoothies.
Putting organic blueberries into the smoothie jar. It has all kinds of ingredients that I think are beneficial to sperm count. Amino acids, fructose, they're organic as well, which all play a part in improving sperm count and fertility and hopefully healthy babies. Obviously the sperm need protein. I have it down to a science, I think. I have my sperm count tested and it's approximately 4 times higher than the average man.
Krista sends a text message. She's on her way.
So it says, "Hi Trent, we are coming up on your house." That's my cue to recover the semen.
Trent gets ready to make his donation in a sterile cup.
Time is of the essence because every minute or so that passes by, there's an amount of sperm that's dying away.
Hi.
Hi.
And then the handoff on Trent's front porch.
Good luck.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. We'll keep in touch, let you know what happens, okay?
Yep, I'll keep my fingers crossed.
All right.
In her car, Krista's partner inseminates her with a drugstore syringe, and Krista rests in the back seat.
It's important that I remain in this position for a little while.
It's a very emotional time. It's filled with a lot of hope and a lot of excitement.
Trent's work for the day is done, but not everyone is pleased with what he's doing. The FDA is now involved, saying Trent is not following federal guidelines. They have issued a cease manufacture order, telling him to stop distributing his sperm.
I would need written approval from the government before I could recover my own semen.
For now, Trent is still in business and recently retained a lawyer to challenge the FDA's order. The agency declined our request for an interview, but did tell us, quote, human cells and tissues intended for donation are regulated, regardless of whether they're for sale or free of charge.
I know the FDA frowns on this, but is it illegal?
It's effectively illegal. You need to have a battery of STD tests, and the fees for those laboratories are more than $1,000 per attempt. Those standards are so arduous as to make it impossible for somebody like Trent Arsenault to meet.
It's not up to the government to determine who I decide the father to our child should be. If someone has the right to go to a bar in the evening and wind up having sexual intercourse, why is it they can do that and I can't choose to have this person be the biological contributor to my child?
Legal or not, there are alarming questions about how much the women really know about the online donors. It turns out that over the years, Trent has posted dozens of graphic videos of himself. He says the videos are, quote, part of his process, but they raise serious concerns.
Out there online, not everything is as it represents itself to be.
Dr. Jessica Brown is a fertility specialist who has helped women get pregnant for nearly 20 years. She says another thing sperm banks often do, besides STD testing, is screen donors for psychological issues.
It does make sense to try to weed out men who may be doing this for bizarre reasons or who may have some type of psychiatric illness or personality disorder.
And there is another big question about the donors.
Aren't there concerns that he's going to want to exercise parental rights that I don't want him to exercise? Maybe I don't want you around the Christmas tree every year. You know, I wanted your sperm, I wanted my baby, and thank you so much, and see you later.
Virtually all these women have contracts that the donor signs or the donor relinquishes parental rights. Now, whether those are enforceable if the donor then decides, oh, actually, I changed my mind, it's a gray area.
There is one more leap of faith some women are willing to take to have a baby. When we come back, donations that don't come in a sterile cup.
Does your wife know you're doing this?
Stay with us. In the private and secretive world of online insemination, there is a special category called natural insemination, or NI. In other words, having sex with people you meet online specifically to get pregnant.
At least a third of women click that they're available for NI as an option. How many actually go through with it, I don't know.
To understand why some women would even consider that option, you need to meet Tanya.
I've wanted to be a mom since I was a child.
Tanya's journey began when she was 19 years old.
I got pregnant and I decided to place our child for adoption. It changed me forever. I have a hole in my heart, and if I could have another biological child, that I could have the chance to be her mom, it would at least, you know, make me feel a little bit better.
In her 30s, Tanya had a longtime boyfriend, but when he told her he didn't want children, it crushed her heart, but not her hope. She turned to sperm banks.
I, unfortunately, had 3 miscarriages.
How much money did you spend?
Probably $60,000, $70,000. I didn't have any infertility insurance at all, so I had to pay for everything out of pocket.
This past summer, after her 3rd miscarriage, she still longed for a child. She went online. Tanya found the free sperm donor registry and opted to leave the choice between artificial and natural insemination blank.
So I just decided that I would see if this person was someone that I would be interested in, and then we would make the decision.
One online donor caught her interest.
We spent weeks emailing and talking on the phone and really getting to know each other.
Eventually, they agreed to meet. Tanya found herself conducting the strangest interview she could imagine over dinner and a glass of wine.
We were both shaking as we were lifting our wine glasses.
Had he done this before?
He had not done this before.
Really?
I know it's hard to believe.
Kind of a dogged pursuit of altruism,
It is, and you're
isn't
like,
it?
why would you ever want to donate your sperm? The way he explains it to me, he genuinely wanted to help someone.
What kinds of questions did you ask?
We actually started from the very beginning, from when we were children to our 20s and college. And
it sounds like a date.
For us, it actually turned out to be a date.
It did?
It did. It really did. I hit the jackpot.
In fact, she says they began to sleep together.
Anybody wave some red flags saying this isn't a good idea?
Definitely they did.
So to people who think it's crazy, you would say?
I thought it was crazy, you know, too. But people have one-night stands and they have babies all the time. I made an adult choice, and he and I have come together for a common reason.
Do you allow yourself now to imagine being a mom, to imagine this time holding your baby and keeping him or her?
I hope that that's in my future. I definitely do.
But for every hopeful novice like Tanya dabbling on the web, there is someone like this man.
And half the time you have sex with them?
Yeah, sex.
We'll call him Joe. He asked that we disguise his face and his voice because he has a secret online life. He says he meets women, often in hotel rooms, who have sex with him because they believe natural insemination increases their chances of getting pregnant.
And how many children total do you have?
Right now, at least 10.
And get this, he also has 3 kids and a wife at home.
Does your wife know you're doing this?
No.
Well, that begs the question, if there wasn't something wrong, why keep it a secret?
And I'm just helping these people do what they want to do, and it's something I want to do also.
Right, but people want to have sex with other people sometimes, and it's called extramarital affairs.
Yeah, I'm not interested in it if it's not going to lead to pregnancy.
Joe says he's been doing this for 3 years and gets great satisfaction from impregnating women. He says he provides STD test results if the women ask for them.
Why this need to have more kids? A lot of people might not understand that.
I think a lot of people do. I mean, there's some people who already have 3 or 4 kids. They want some more.
Is this some, like, you know, man thing? I mean, help me understand.
It's just something that I feel is important.
Are you trying to tell me that what you're doing is altruistic?
It's what these people want, and it happens to coincide with what I want. I want more children.
So it's not altruistic. You're doing this for yourself.
Well, yeah, it's a kind of win-win situation.
And you don't think what you're doing is kind of creepy in any way?
Well, these people are adults who've asked me to help them. They've decided how they want that to happen.
3 men, each pursuing an online mission to procreate. And 3 women on a personal quest to have a baby by any means possible. Tanya tells us she is still dating and may also look into adopting. Krista, who got pregnant with Trent but miscarried soon after, says that despite revelations about his pornographic postings, she still believes in him as a donor, and they may try again.
I actually have had no second thoughts with Trent. There's a lot of risk involved. There's a lot of unknowns, but he is the right choice for us. I know that I will be a mother someday. I just don't know how yet.
Yeah, good girl.
And remember Beth and her husband Richard? After they inseminated with Drew in that Maryland hotel room, she did not get pregnant, but she and Drew are trying again.
I have this really strong urge that I want to have a biological child. If I have to work extra hard to get it, I'll do it. I don't give up.
So what's better, fresh or frozen? See more of the debate at our website at abcnews.com/2020. We'll be right back.
Next, the new sex ed. College girls getting paid to date to pay off student loans. But what's the real price?
I was directly asked, would you have sex with me?
Sugar babies. When we come back.
You've all heard the expression arm candy, say a wealthy older man with a younger beautiful woman or a trophy wife. But these days the candy is getting younger. College girls drowning in student loans and resorting to sugar dating. Sugar daddies dating sugar babies. But what happens after dessert when it's time to pick up the check?
It is 6 o'clock in the evening. 24-year-old Christine Morris of New York City is doing what she loves best.
I dreamed about being a singer, playing in an orchestra, going to school, getting my degree.
That lifelong passion earned her a spot at a prestigious school of music. But as she inched closer to graduation, reality set in.
I had just taken out too many student loans. I couldn't take out any more.
How much is tuition?
Roughly $10,000 a semester. At one point, I had 3 jobs.
Where did that leave time for school?
It didn't.
Just 1 semester shy of her bachelor's degree, Christine left school. But so far, waiting tables isn't adding up to the big bucks she desperately needs. So tonight, Christine is trying something different. She's going to have dinner with a man she met here on a website called seekingarrangement.com. It's one of several sugar daddy sites where men can hook up with potential sugar babies, younger women who want to be supported financially in exchange for their companionship.
So what made you decide to try this?
I needed money and I wanted to try and save up to get myself back in school.
And she's not alone. The fastest growing population on the site today, according to the company, it's college students. And some speculate it's the direct result of skyrocketing tuition costs and student debt. In fact, Seeking Arrangement now targets college sugar babies, which in turn attracts sugar daddies who pay as much as $2,500 to sign up.
Who are these men?
Wall Street men, businessmen, lawyers.
How old in general are these guys?
Most of them have been in their 40s.
For a few decades.
Yeah, exactly.
Melanie Berlier, a freelance writer based in New York City, went undercover, dating men from the site to write an expose for Vanity Fair.
The distinguishing characteristic of a sugar baby, sugar daddy relationship is that you openly discuss the financial component of the relationship.
Right up front.
Right up front and throughout.
One man Berlier met said in his profile that he was willing to spend $10,000 to $20,000 a month. No doubt attractive to college graduates who now shoulder an average of $25,000 of debt. Seeking Arrangement gave 2020 a list of the schools it says have the highest number of sugar babies, and some of the names might surprise you. NYU at number 1, and even Harvard makes the top 10.
It's easier for me to understand why young women would be willing to do this. They need the money.
Right.
Why are men willing to do this?
I found that it was a lot of men who were very well aware that their resources could be used by younger women, and how else would these men meet these younger women?
I know you've heard the term arm candy. Is that what
Yes.
some of these women are?
Yes, in the same vein as what a trophy wife is.
Richard, a Las Vegas sugar daddy in his 50s who asked not to be identified, says these arrangements are a win-win for everyone.
If you can afford to help somebody and give them a better life, and in turn they give you a whole bunch of fun and companionship you might not achieve otherwise, that's a good return.
But companionship can mean different things to different people.
How much of it involves sex?
Most men expected some sexual relationship.
How overt were they about that?
I was directly asked, would you have sex with me? So pretty overt. But this certainly isn't like prostitution. It was more akin to renting a girlfriend.
But if there is sex going on in exchange for money, isn't that prostitution?
You could say that there's a lack of romance, but I don't know. It's a necessary reality for those people involved in it.
You said in your description, I'm looking for a mutually beneficial relationship.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean exactly?
Basically trading companionship for money. I mean, a lot of these guys will just pay for pretty girls to have dinner with them.
But surely you must have thought there might be an expectation of sex being involved.
With some of them there is, but I also make known that that's not my expectation.
But you don't exactly say sex is out of the question.
Right.
Sex isn't a given, it is earned, says Pixie, a 23-year-old sugar baby from New York.
Sex would have to come just like any other relationship, step by step.
But the financial transaction, she says, isn't tied to the sex.
You know, they'll bring an envelope and just put it in your purse while you're not looking. Or sometimes they'll just say, honey, do you need anything besides the allowance?
Pixie now says she has plans to go to law school, so she's looking for a new arrangement.
Yeah. I tell them whatever amount I need, $8,000, $9,000 a month. For some men, really, that's not a lot of money. Plus, a wife costs a lot more.
Christine hasn't made anything close to that yet. She says she averages $100 to $500 a date.
Do your parents know you're doing this?
They don't.
Well, I think they might now.
They might.
When we come back, the one and only Madonna. From her latest boy toy
I don't feel comfortable with this conversation.
to Lady Gaga, is she a copycat?
Would you ever do a duet with her?
Next.
We've just seen the new sex, so you might be tempted to think of Madonna as the sex original. She has pushed every boundary and lots of buttons along with it. So has superstardom slowed her down at all? As Cynthia McFadden found out, Madonna is just getting started.
She's the world's top-selling female recording artist of all time. With hits like Vogue and Like a Virgin. For 3 decades, Madonna has never held back from expressing herself. It's no secret Madonna is the original pinup girl for outrageous behavior. Love her, hate her, she is tireless.
Nice to see you again. Nice to see you.
Launching 3 massive projects all at once.
Fancy meeting you here.
Exactly. We just stumbled into this beautiful room.
We picked this room, the Royal Suite at New York's Waldorf Astoria, because Madonna wants to talk about her latest passion, her new film about the Duke and Duchess of Windsor.
They actually stayed in this set of rooms.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's her directorial baby called W.E., poised to open on February 3rd.
David, let's stop all this talk about marriage. It frightens me, and I can't see any good coming of it.
An unbridled romance between King Edward VIII and an American divorcee, Wallis Simpson. Their romance ultimately shook Britain to its core.
Then I'll give up the throne.
And I will be the most despised woman in the world.
And she was. Forced to choose between the throne and the woman he loved, Edward chose Wallis, abdicating in 1936.
I now quit altogether public affairs, and I lay down my burden.
Do you end up liking Wallis Simpson? Or?
I love her. I see her as a human being, her ability to survive against all odds.
Get a life.
And also, I think she was deeply misunderstood by people, and I think, obviously I can relate to that.
Madonna always surprises, and the film is no exception.
The great discovery that I made whilst doing this research is that there is no such thing as perfect love, and I obviously know that in the back of my head. I'm not an idiot.
I have no idea.
Inside one of the greatest love affairs of all time, Madonna reveals a painful truth.
She felt trapped. Yeah. I mean, think about it. If a man gives up being king for you, then you have to spend the rest of your life making him feel like a king. She felt imprisoned.
Have you ever been loved like that?
I don't know. That's a hard question to answer because I've never fallen in love with a king. I've certainly fallen in love with people who were willing to make big sacrifices for me, possibly not as big as I would have liked them to make. And I've made very big sacrifices for people that I've loved.
You're a romantic.
I am. Sorry.
Still,
after all these years?
Why not?
Speaking of all these years, Madonna and I have our own history, nearly a decade's worth. From our first interview in Los Angeles to the one at her home in New York.
I'm being held prisoner by hair and makeup artist.
All right.
We last met in the south of France.
Come on, Cynthia, join me. There's a disco downstairs. Look at this.
She was about to turn the big 5-0.
Yeah, you, I'm 50.
This time we thought we might jump right over age.
We'll skip the age stuff.
Yeah, boring
It's not
subject.
that I don't
I
wanna
already
own
know
it.
how old I am, and I own it.
Well, you're famously dating younger men.
Aren't people tired of that subject?
No.
His name is Brahim Zybet, a 24-year-old French dancer.
I just met someone that I cared for, and this happens to be his age.
And what's appealing about him?
I don't feel comfortable with this conversation.
What are you looking for?
Talk about Wallace Simpson.
We'll talk about Wallace Simpson.
So how is her new relationship going?
I'm the easy one.
I believe you, millions won't. Are you the easy one?
No, I don't know. I mean, I go home and I wash my face and I put on my sweatpants and I lay down on the bed and I say, oh, please rub my feet, and, you know, and he says, no, you rub my feet. So, you know, behind the curtain, I'm just like everybody else.
Really? The material girl is like everyone else?
Give it up, do as I say. Give it up and let me have my way.
Remember erotica?
Let's talk about celebrity a little bit.
Okay, goody, my favorite subject.
Well, you're an expert on celebrity.
Am I? Wow. That's a sign.
What's it a sign of?
I don't know. Maybe the Duchess is in this room right now.
Yeah,
Maybe
she's angry at us.
She doesn't like the subject.
Of love or celebrity?
3 minutes later, the light was fixed.
Did you set out to be famous?
Hell no. Fame kind of came and smacked me in the face, and I set out to be a dancer, and then I set out to be a singer and a songwriter.
Cut! And now a director. When we come back,
they want to know what you think about Lady Gaga.
Your number one question for the queen of pop.
Is that good?
Look it up.
When 2020's Ask Madonna continues. This is the first time in 30 years Madonna has ever allowed cameras into a recording studio.
I know it's not cool to be happy, but I think it is. It's actually really cool to be uncool.
And you're getting an exclusive sneak peek of her new single, a duet with rapper MIA. The album called MDNA is out in March.
Happy birthday!
And there'll be a lot more music to come. She's just signed a lucrative new music deal.
$40 million.
Is that how
much?
much?
Are you buying lunch?
Cynthia, I think we've passed lunch. I think we've passed dinner.
Madonna is also the halftime entertainment at this year's Super Bowl. A controversial decision.
So what's more frightening, having the movie open or performing live at the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl, for sure. I have 8 minutes to set up my stage, 12 minutes to put on the greatest show on earth, and I have 7 minutes to take it down. And that's the challenge. How do you do that?
Jump out of a plane or no?
No, there's a roof on the stadium. It'd be painful. I actually wanted to have 100 drummers come from the ceiling.
I like it.
It's cool, right?
Yeah?
Madonna wouldn't tell me exactly what she's planning.
What's happening now?
I have 250 dancers waiting for me right now.
The day we talked, she was holding a massive audition. Before she left, she agreed to answer some viewer questions.
What is
These
that?
are the questions
Oh,
that
God.
people wrote in. What was the last meal you cooked entirely by yourself?
I don't think I've ever cooked a meal entirely by myself.
Ever?
My nannies cook, my housekeeper cooks.
Do you cook anything?
No, but I do everything else.
Do you miss being married?
Certain parts of it, yeah.
What parts?
Just feeling like a part of a family unit, not having to make all the decisions on my own.
Which would you despise the most? A world without music, a world without sex, or a world full of hydrangeas?
A world without sex. Because when you're making love to someone, it's like music.
That's nice.
Yep, as long as there's no hydrangeas in the room.
So, of all of these, there's one question that almost blew up the internet.
Oh.
They want to know what you think about Lady Gaga. And do you feel she's copying you?
I certainly think she references me a lot in her work. Sometimes I think it's amusing and flattering and well done. I can't really be annoyed by it or insulted by it because obviously I've influenced her.
It doesn't feel like a ripoff.
No, because she's she and I'm me.
Would you ever do a duet with her?
It hasn't occurred to me, but never say never.
And when you saw Born This Way, did you think?
When I heard it on the radio. Yes, I did. I said that sounds very familiar. Yes.
Some argue Born This Way sounds a little too much like Madonna's Express Yourself.
And that doesn't feel annoying.
It feels reductive.
Is that good?
Look it up.
We did. It means simplified or crude.
That was a good answer.
Well, that's our program for tonight, but be sure to stay tuned for Nightline after your local news. I'm Elizabeth Vargas. For all of us at 2020 and ABC News, have a great weekend and good night.
Get ready for the coldest